Hi, it's Mike Noon here. Um, Facebook has changed its video format yet again, so if I can just check, can you hear me? If you can, type yes in the chat box below. Thank you very much. Um, so, if you don't know who I am, you've probably seen me around on social media, on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and so on and so forth. And what I do is I help business owners to streamline their operations to make them more efficient, with particular reference to their marketing and promotions. And what we do is we work out which bits are working and which ones are just a complete and utter waste of time and money. But hey, they're making your marketing agency very, very happy and probably quite wealthy as well. So typically I serve businesses that turnover, we aim to target people who are turning over around $1 million plus, though we do occasionally stray down to the $500,000 sort of revenue mark. And these companies, they've got to have certain assets and things in place. They've got to have things like a customer list, or alternatively, be getting a minimum of sort of 5,000 unique views on their website a week. So that way we've got something to work with, something that we can tweak and prune and amplify and all that sort of stuff. So I've been looking at what's going on with this COVID-19 thing, and it's quite, apart from the fact that it's dreadful that we've got all these people dying, it's never nice having to sort of say farewell to your loved ones, and I've done this a few times in the past. But it's the impact on the economy, and the short-term impact is that all the businesses here in New Zealand are all closed. You've got similar situations in the Philippines. I've got my friends and contacts up there. Similar stuff in Singapore, United States, United Kingdom, all across Europe. So the short-term effect is if the economy is shut down, people can't buy certain things, they can't conduct certain transactions, but until about a week ago, they just took for granted. And that means there's a massive loss of revenue for those businesses, and a lot of those businesses, because they don't have the cash reserves to get them through this month-long shutdown, or 3 weeks, depending on where you are in the world, they're going to go to the wall. And which means the people that work for them are going to be unemployed, and they're then not going to be putting money into the economy or putting money into your business. One of the other things that nobody's talking about is the psychological effects of all this. If you look back to the Great Depression in 1929 to 1933, though the Great Depression didn't actually properly end until about 1946, after the Second World War, you had unemployment of 22% across the United States. I don't know what the figures were for Europe. And the Minister of Finance here in New Zealand came out in an interview he did a few days ago. I saw it on Stuff or News Talk ZB, something like that. And he said that unemployment here could reach the same sort of levels that it reached in the Great Depression here. And he's quoting figures of somewhere between 15 to 30%. They don't know because they weren't tracking it then. They didn't have all the government offices for people to go and clock in. But even at 15% unemployment, that's a phenomenal part of the productive part of a population that isn't contributing anything, but they're going to be lining up at WINS or whatever to get their share of the $52 billion that the government has just borrowed from the Reserve Bank. And I think it's a good thing that we keep businesses going, we keep food on people's tables and all the rest of it. What nobody's talking about is the fact that this money has to be repaid. The central bank can't afford to just give money away, because if they do that, it undermines people's confidence in their credibility, it undermines confidence in the currency, and when you have a run on the New Zealand dollar or the American dollar, whatever it is, so it has to look like it's a proper business transaction. And so what this means is you're going to be repaying all this, you know, wage subsidy stuff that you're getting for yourself and for your teams, for your staff, and your grandchildren are going to be paying, and maybe even your great-grandchildren. I don't know the length of the term of the bond, but yeah, it could maybe be a 60-year bond, you know. When you compound the interest, it's going to have quite an effect on the future well-being of, you know, the people you love and care about. And I think that there are other ways that, you know, businesses could help themselves. And what I've been banging on about here on Facebook for probably the last 2 or 3 weeks is there is a beautiful, free, not cost you a penny, not a cent, method of publicizing your business and of really creating that people know you, like you, trust you, you know, the holy trinity of marketing, to be known, to be liked, to be trusted. And it's Facebook will distribute all this stuff for you for nothing. And people just don't seem to want to listen. But I mean, I guess people are kind of, they're sort of still in shock, you know, being told that, you know, you've got to close the doors on your business at, you know, 5 p.m. or midnight, whatever it was, on last Wednesday, and you can't go there, and you can't manage your stock, and you can't rescue the food that's sitting in the fridge going off. So yeah, that's but if, for instance, we do get 15% unemployment, you're going to get a lot of people who are working for other organisations at the moment, and they're just told, look, sorry, we've gone bust, we've gone bankrupt, there isn't any more work for you. We're going to be setting up on our own. But because they are one-man bands, we're going to have smaller overheads than you've got with your big offices or your premises, whatever it might be. They're also going to be selling their products and services based on price. And they will just enter into price wars with you. And because you've got your overheads, you've got that limit that you can't go below. Because once you go below, you know, the amount you need to pay your rent and your light and your internet, your phone and your insurance and, you know, all your public liability stuff, and they're going to undercut you. So while I can understand that, you know, people do have to feed their families, what I think is probably more sensible is to position yourself as being the business that, you know, your current clients should continue to do business with. And you do this just by using something called results in advance. There are other videos somewhere down on this page below me here on facebook.com/strategy, number 4, then the word success / that's facebook.com/strategy4success. A load of free information there. Because I know what it's like. I mean, I still vividly remember the global financial crisis. I was living in Thailand, and I had a very, very successful online business there. And then Google, bless them, gotta love those guys, really scratching for money. They changed the rules of the game. It's not that we were doing anything that was against their current rules, it's just they changed them. And we went from having, I think, 280 pages that were at number 1 on page 1 of Google, and goodness knows how many others who, you know, position 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it might be. They all just disappeared from our index. And because we're dependent on just that one source of traffic, you know, the business got wiped out. We lost everything. And then, bless them, we have the GFC, the global financial crisis, and whatever cash we had tucked away, that all disappeared too. And it's sort of, it's interesting standing outside your sort of big mansion with the swimming pool and the jacuzzi in the front garden and all the palm trees. I used to live there yesterday. So, you know, what I'm saying is, don't just assume that because the government's putting all this money into things, that it's going to magically heal the economy. It's not. The difference between the GFC and this crisis from a financial perspective is that the United States Federal Reserve printed, well, they don't actually print money, they just press a button after they typed a few numbers into a computer screen, but they created 19 trillion, and a trillion is 1,000 billion, so they created $19,000 billion, and they dished it out to the Bank of Japan, European Central Bank, Bank of England, ECB, probably the Bank of China as well, and they kept about 4 trillion to themselves. And because it went into the banking system, and basically that money went on deposit in the Federal Reserve and in the Bank of England and in the European Central Bank, it didn't make its way into the economy. So there wasn't any inflation. And everybody went, hey, it's cool. We can just print money and it won't have any effect on prices and stuff. This time's different because the United States Federal Reserve is in the process, the United States federal government, as part of its fiscal policy, is going to be putting $2 trillion, $2,000 billion into the United States economy, but this time they're doing it directly. They're putting it into Main Street. And then the Fed has just said, we're just going to print as much as we have to protect the banking system, the stock market and all the rest of it. Everyone's gone, yay! And no one's looked at the inflationary impact that this money's going to have, this currency. And just say, I'm not sure if you know or not, but inflation isn't a rise in prices. That is an effect of inflation. In economic terms, inflation is an increase in the money supply. And that then causes the price increases because you've got all this extra money that's chasing the same amount of goods and services. So that means the price goes up. They're crafty. They blame inflation on all these other things in the economy, but central banks are the ones that cause inflation because they're the ones that have got the power to print currency. And I use the word currency instead of money very very deliberate way, because what you've got in your wallet, this stuff here, all of this, that's not money, that's currency. Why? Because one of the aspects of money is it has to, there's four things that money has to be. It has to be fungible, it has to be divisible, but most important is it has to be a store of value. And I would ask you, the $20 or the $50 bill that you've got in your wallet, your purse, will that buy you the same amount of food in Countdown today that it did 3 weeks ago, or 6 months ago, or a year ago, or 2 years ago? Don't think so. When I came back here from Thailand, I used to, I couldn't find a job because nobody was hiring. I put literally hundreds of job applications in, and nobody even sort of bothered to say, hey, sorry, you weren't successful. So, I gave up and I restarted the business here. But my budget after my rent was $60 a week, and that was for my food and my bottle of wine on a Friday night. That was it. It was hard times. And we've sort of been lulled into this belief that we've got this rock star economy, but the rock star economy is only underpinned by credit. Cheap credit, and that is it. And so there's all sorts of stuff that's going to, I think, come out as a result of that. But anyway, I digress. I could talk about this all day. I get really wound up by bloody central bankers and politicians. I don't like them, I don't trust them, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here to help. So what I'm saying is, I think that on the other side of this COVID-19, the after effects of that are going to be, there's going to be huge damage to the economy, there's going to be huge damage to business. So it makes sense, while you're in lockdown, to use your time to demonstrate that you can help your customers and clients and prospects by actually helping them. So there's free information further down on this page. There's lots and lots of videos there. I don't want anything for them. It's just my way of helping out, giving back, because hey, I live here too, and it's in my best interest to keep the economy healthy and happy, you know. So that's basically it. So if this was useful to you, please share it. If it wasn't useful to you, don't share it. I don't really mind. Up to you. And you can like it. You can comment if you've got any questions. Just type them in the chat box down below. And I'll see you sometime maybe later today after I've come up with some other things, some other implications of what we're going through. Because this is heavy stuff. This ain't no Sunday school picnic. And I mean, one of my hobbies, just so you know, one of my hobbies is economics, particularly Austrian economics, and I've been studying this as a layman. I don't have any formal university education in economics, but I've probably done about 3 or 4 hours of study and reading just on economics every day for the last 20 years. So that comes to about 29,000 hours, which is more than you need for a PhD, I think. But I'm not claiming any expertise or stuff like that. It's just I find it fascinating because and the thing that started that for me was a guy said to me in London in around about the year 2000. He said, if you don't understand finance and economics, how do you know the rules of the game? And how do you know the rules of the game well enough to stop those who do know the rules of the game from ripping you off? And I thought, well, that makes sense. So I've been on a bit of a mission since then. Economics and marketing. Anyway, have a great day. Stay safe. Get out, get some exercise. This rain's probably due later on. Had a lovely walk on Eastbourne Beach this morning and stood on the wharf and looked at the sun as it came up over Wellington. Beautiful. So you take care. I'll talk to you real soon. Bye for now.